our thing. Oh, we're live now.
I know.
We're live.
Right.
So yeah. So hi, welcome to the House of Static.
Welcome to the House of Static, where we show you that artists are dumbasses as well.
Exactly. We forgot that we were live.
Yeah.
So so I'm Bob and this is Kilo, and we are the House of Static. I'm the Static Dive. Kilo is Kilo House, and there's the name, and that's where we come from. I'm in New York, Kilo's in LA, and we do
And
this.
that's where we come from. Yeah.
There you go. Right. And we've got well, if you really want to talk about where we come from, Kilo comes from Oklahoma and I come from New Jersey, but here we
No, I
are.
come from New Hampshire and then
That's
Oklahoma.
true. Yes, New Hampshire.
Colorado, and then Oklahoma and then California.
There you go. So okay, so you can do the same with me. So I'm from New Jersey, then Kansas, then New York. How about that?
Kansas, tell me
Kansas.
about that.
For 4 months. My
I
family
also lived in Florida. No, that's different.
I lived in Florida as an adult adult. I mean, when I was 21, I moved to Florida. But I mean, when I was a kid, when I was growing up, I was born in Jersey. And then when I was like 2 years old, my dad moved to family. His brother lived in Kansas. So he's from New York City. My dad is from Manhattan. My mom's from Ireland, and I was from Jersey. And so we were moving from like this very East Coast life that we had to the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And this, like, my dad got there, he bought a house before he got there. And the houses were like nothing, this is like 1972 in Kansas. I mean, the houses cost nothing. So he bought a house before he got there in Lyons, Kansas. And we got there and he immediately put it on the market. He said, I can't possibly live here. We got to get out of here.
Like, nope. That's
yeah, and not anything to not slighting Kansas in any way, but it was just not to he was a very New York kind of guy. And there was no hanging, there were no hills, there's no mountains, it's just plain, and there's no people.
Lots of fields though, and lots of
beautiful.
grass. And
I'm saying, no, it's a beautiful place. It's just anyway, we didn't last very long. He sold the house quickly. We were back on the East Coast within 4 months. We were living in Hyde Park, New York, and then we moved up to where I live now, which is upstate. And
so why did you guys move there? Was it just because of a job opportunity, or?
Yeah, my dad was getting different jobs, getting better jobs and moving around the country. He was always moving, my dad. He was a real nomad. He was awesome. When he was younger too, he was like Jack Kerouac. He was everywhere.
I really like moving. For some reason, it gives me like a new breath of fresh air when I wake up. Like, I don't know, when I feel stale. I don't know. I haven't moved out of this specific apartment for like 2 years, but I've even moved around in the apartment complex. I had one in building 3, then I had another one in this building, and then now I have this one, which is the one that I always imagined having and wanted. But right. I just like that feeling of moving. I think I'm that kind of person where it's just like,
it's cool. I moved a lot when I was younger, but I've been here in this house for 18 years now. I bought this in 2004, and I've been here ever since. So and I don't really, I mean, I kind of live in a couple different places now because my girlfriend's family's down in Albany, and we go down there a couple nights a week. So we kind of go back and forth. But this is, this is my home for 18 years. I love it.
That's cool. Yeah, my story is a little bit different. My parents had built this house in New Hampshire. Like, they cut the trees down. My Uncle Dick, which is a dope name, Uncle Dick, like, basically built it himself while smoking lots of weed. Supposedly, my uncle would roll them himself and then put them like in cigarette packs and just bring them with him to work. He just smoked them like I smoke cigarettes. But they built a house in New Hampshire, and then once I was born and my sister was born, we both got diagnosed with illnesses within the same, I think it was a week and a half, 2 week span of time. And like, I was like deemed very disabled, which clearly didn't happen. But anyways, so my parents ended up moving basically to Kansas, but Oklahoma, which is below Kansas.
Right, yeah.
We wanted to go to Bible school and like study Christian stuff. And I mean, honestly, you have to admit, like, when weird things like that happen, where your 2 kids that you love so much are diagnosed with problems within the same week of time, like, you kind of have to go somewhere and do something that will give you hope for the future,
Well,
make you feel.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, on good days, the world doesn't make the universe doesn't make any sense, and it's impossible to know how to just exist in this, So, and on the bad days, yeah, people go to, they look for. I mean, ultimately, I think we're just looking for a connection with each other. We're looking for, some sort of like, understanding and some compassion, some empathy,
Right.
and a spiritual connection, and whatever the reality of spiritual connections are, if they're maybe everybody's right, maybe every religion's right, so rock on. But yeah, people go to what they know, and it works, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, hope is a very, very good thing to have, no matter what way you find it. Kind of like, I've been fucking around with the idea like that if random bad shit can happen, random good shit can also happen. Like you never keep that in mind. Like, like, wow, why did this happen for no reason? Why did that happen? But also, you can also work the other way, completely random. Like, I didn't think I would ever have a podcast. I didn't even think about having a podcast or a label. Like, that's just random shit that is great. And basically, I do it all the time, all day now. And I never would have even thought of it a year and a half ago.
I know, it's amazing, right?
So, I mean, that is something that gives me hope. Hope doesn't always come from spirituality. It's good when it does, but also randomness is hope.
Yeah, well, one of the things you just said reminded me of, I think it was Oprah did it a few years ago, where it was a big trend, and they should do it again. People should start doing it again, where they did random acts of kindness. And
I'm sure that's still a thing, man. I don't think that.
Do it. I mean, I've had it where I've been in like the Starbucks drive-through. These are real first world people, white people problems. I've been in the drive-through, and
I don't think it's a white people problem.
I'm just saying. I'm just making fun of myself. Is all. I'm just
Western people problem.
Yeah, I'm pointing out the fact that I'm just a middle class yuppie dude. Anyway, the point of the story is not that. The point of the story is that I've been in line before and had just hand me in the drive-through, and just had them hand me my coffee and say the guy in front of you bought it for you. And I was like, really?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so then you buy it for the next person. So like, here's $5 for the next person's or whatever, and it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool when it happened.
Makes me feel weird inside thinking about that, because I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, well, I think honestly, that's what's nice about it, is that, because I don't know what to do in any situation. I'm a socially awkward weirdo, right? So I don't ever know what to do. But something like that, it's just pretty obvious. Like, I'm in this line of people that are all doing the same thing. The guy in front of me was like, hey, I'm going to help out the random guy behind me. So the only logical thing for me to do was go, all right, I'll help out the random guy behind me,
I guess that's probably what I would do, because I guess maybe I have a problem with like people helping me when I don't need it, because my brain went like, I would say no. But you can't say no because that person already drove off.
Yeah,
so no situation.
Exactly. Yeah, I would always say no to something like that. Normally, I'm like I said, social awkward weirdo. So people say, my initial reaction when people come to me, like, let me connect with you somehow, is like, all right, that's scary stuff. So
yeah, if watching this or listening to this, we should start that trend again.
Yeah, I think so too. That's really what I was saying, is there was a really nice thing that, that people did that. And it was pretty cool.
Nice things for like, struggling people that are homeless or something. Like when I was a kid, there was a homeless guy on the corner. And so my family bought this man a cheeseburger and fries or something, whatever it was. And my sister walked up to him and she kept saying, sir, sir. And the guy didn't look at her. This is a sad story. He didn't even look at her. And then like, finally he realized that she was talking to him. And he was like, are you talking to me? And she was like, yeah, here's the food. But it's sad that that man was so beaten down that when he heard sir, it meant nothing to him.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I know, right? That's fucking horrible. That he didn't even feel like anyone would be trying to talk to him or trying to say sir. Right, it is. So if you see a homeless person, say hi. I mean, not always, because they could be crazier than me and Bob, but also they could be completely normal, and also they might not be homeless, because one time when I had a full beard, like way down to here. I was like outside I think it was Kansas. I was traveling. I was outside and it was like winter and it was really cold outside. And I was smoking a cigarette waiting for my sister to use the restroom. And these people like bought me food and gave it to me. And I was just like, why? Also, when I was in New York with that same exact beard, I was outside on the phone arguing with my ex-girlfriend. And we had just left like a really expensive restaurant, which I had paid for. And I was there on the phone, and this dude tried to hand me like a wad of cash. And I was like, no, nope. And I was like thinking, wait, you just came out of that same restaurant I was in. So technically don't always do things like that because I was definitely not homeless. I paid for the meal. But because I looked a little bit homeless to him, it was like, here's money. And I was like, no, get away from me. So anyways, now that we're done talking about that,
We talk about my hair again.
well, I mean, we could talk about what the fuck happened to my hair today, but that's a whole nother story. I was telling Bob earlier, I think it looks like a bowl cut, like a child's bowl cut. He said it was like,
Oh
Kurt
yeah, I know. I was
yeah,
gonna find
show
a
me the
picture of
picture.
Kurt Cobain with short hair. That's what you look like. And the pictures do exist. I gotta find one again. There's like a famous picture of Kurt with like these big glasses on. He's got short hair. He's got short hair there a little bit.
I think I actually know what you're talking about.
And you look like him. I got a couple. Here, like, it's not. Yeah, this one's good. All right, here we go. How do I? Oh, I got to remember how to do this. I got to share part of my screen here.
Oh, yeah.
I think advanced sharing options. I don't know. Hold on a second. I never know what the hell I'm doing. I do this every week and I still don't know what I'm doing.
I don't even know how to walk, bro, so you're good.
I got you. All right, let's see. Portion of the screen. I think that's what I want. So let's do that. Which portion?
Almost push the leave party. Whoops.
Share. What part of the screen? Can you see? Do you see what do you
I
see?
see very red. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. I mean, if it was a little bit longer, you're right, actually.
If you took your sunglasses off and you put eyeliner on, you'd look like that.
I used to wear eyeliner in high school though, because I was that dude.
Right. Dude, that's you. I mean, that is your Kurt Cobain with short hair.
The hair, but his is longer in the front than mine is.
A little bit, but it's the same idea.
I'll work on it because
here's another one. How about that? That's a bowl cut.
I have hair in the back because my hair is shaved like you've seen my hair on the show every week.
Right. But he's got an actual bowl cut there.
We love Kurt Cobain. Why don't we talk about when you heard them for the first time?
Oh man, yeah, sure. I do. I love Kurt Cobain, love Nirvana. I was let's see. First time I heard Nirvana it was in 1991. It was the day before the Nevermind came out, and that the day before because I was I worked at a record store. I worked at a record store all through high school and college. I worked at 2 different record stores. So in 91, I was in college and I was working at Strawberries, which was a popular record store in upstate New York at the time. And anyway, so everything back in the day, the record label, everything came out on Tuesdays. That's just how it worked. And it had to do with shipping and stuff. There's like a whole history behind it. Now everything comes out on Fridays. And I think it was like Beyonce that changed it because she just said, it's digital, who cares? I'm putting an album out on Friday. And then everybody said, that's a really good idea, Beyonce. And then we're going to do that too. So that's kind of how it's been going for the last 10 years or so. But before that, everything came out on Tuesdays. And so Monday nights at the record store would be busy nights. We'd be setting up for the next day because it's a release. Every Tuesday was release day. So you'd be, and then we'd get a new in-store play tape. And that was when you go in a record store and you'd hear the music, the popular hits of the time would be playing. I mean, they don't have record stores anymore, but that's how it was, right?
I know the COVID killed the last record store I have seen here in Burbank. There was like a big record store and now it's gone.
There are still some actual vinyl record stores that sell like vintage vinyl that I go to, around here. I love because as you can see, I got my record player right back here. But anyway, this is
right there that I found on the street that had gotten shot through by a bunch of different caliber bullets.
Nice.
Apparently people were throwing it up in the air and shooting at it right near my apartment.
Yeah,
great.
That's cool. All right. So anyway, the Nirvana story, right? So I was working at the record store, and Monday night, big night, you got to set up for the next day for release day. So you get the in-store play tape and you put it in, and that's like basically everything that's on sale for the next week. And then so we're setting things up. And anyway, we popped the tape in, and I'm walking around. We had closed the store, and I'm walking around, and then I just heard, the beginning of Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it's just, it was like the Replacements and the Pixies met, like, Motorhead. It was just like, it was just fucking fantastic, and I had no idea. I didn't know who the band was. I didn't know what the buzz was about them or anything, but it was just painfully obvious that was a great rock and roll song, and the second it started, it was just like, I really like that clicked with me. I was like, holy shit, I'm moshing. I'm 21 years old, and I'm just bouncing around the record store moshing. I looked a lot like I do now. I had crazy hair, and
That's
so
awesome,
there you
dude.
go. That was my Nirvana story.
Yeah, my second dead friend, he was obsessed with Nirvana, like loved everything about them. So maybe he's fucking partying in hell with Kurt Cobain. Who knows?
Hey, there you go. Right on.
Never know. He's probably having a good time. So this week I was actually thinking about this before the show. I was thinking, and I didn't tell Bob about this just so that we could have an organic conversation about it. We always talk about times where, like, what inspires us to do things, and a lot of our guests, we talk about that, but we've never talked about like times we felt either like discouraged or uninspired, and how we got through that to the place where we are now. And I was wondering, Bob, can you talk about like how you've made it this long, still wanting to do music, still making music?
Wow. That's a great question. I have no idea what the answer to that is. And and I'm not trying to be funny. What I mean is that like the idea of like making music or not making music, playing or not playing, right? That isn't a conversation that I've ever had with myself. That isn't something it's not a debate.
You remember back, like I know now, obviously both of us, that's what we do.
Yeah, I was glad, I mean, as you know, for years I worked, I worked in a more corporate sort of environment, with meetings and stuff. And I still, I work as a consultant a little bit in that area still. And, so I got nothing against it, but it was very different world than what's up here, and everybody always
up here. No one ever knows what's up there.
Right, exactly. So, and I'd be at work, and people would be like, what do you, be like, what are you doing this weekend? We're shooting the shit, and everybody'd be like, oh, I'm going out on the boat. Oh, we're taking the kids out of the Great Escape, the amusement park or whatever. Blah blah blah. What are you doing, Bob? And I'm like, I got a gig on Friday, and then I'll be in the studio all day Saturday and Sunday. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? What are those words that you just said?
Right.
And but it's, to me, it was just like, it always has been. It's just of course I'm going to play. I always told them, I said, painters paint, writers write, and I make songs. I mean, that's kind of what I do. So
I really do think like positive self-speech is a very important thing. And I feel like sometimes things that people have told us, which you probably didn't have happen, of like, oh, you can't do that, or you can, like something when we were children or whatever, like can affect how we think of ourselves when we think of, what we're doing, whatever you're trying to achieve, whether it's like, a new job, or like having a new girlfriend, or like making music like us, or making movies. Like I think a lot more of our self-doubt goes back to like way long ago. And if you don't have, like Bob is telling you he never had that happen. I've had instances where that could have happened, but I kind of have the mindset of like, if you say I can't do it, I'm going to fucking do it no matter what.
Right.
So it encourages me to do it.
Well, I should probably clarify a little bit. And one thing you just said makes me realize that what I'm actually, you made me realize what I was saying, really, because I've never actually considered like whether or not I play or don't play. Like I said, I always play because that is what I do. That's how I identify myself as a musician. That's who I am. Right.
Right.
But one of the, the reason I identify myself as a musician, and the reason it's who I am is because it is the source of my confidence. You know what I mean? I don't lose confidence in that's the one thing that I would never actually lose confidence in it, because it is the literal, it's Samson at his hair, and like music. Music is
Right. That's a good
you know what I
example.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of music, I could like talk to girls. Because of music, I had friends, because of
Right.
music, I did everything. I got a kid, I got a house, I got everything I've done. But really, even though I worked in corporate America, my actual career started in the music business. Like the whole
Right.
thing's been music. So,
That's very cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I do remember a time though when you were talking to a record label and you were telling me about it, and you were like, but it never really works out. And everyone's
Sure,
heard
yeah.
the story on here before. But so that's a little bit of a doubt of,
Oh, well, you didn't ask me if I doubted success.
well, I'm saying whatever you're doing in this realm, right? So it can be lots of different things and just kind of how you get through that. And I guess I gave you a good example, which is like maybe it's just friends telling you, like, just do it anyways. You never know what the outcome can be.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you, yes, and I can tell you so what Kayla's referring to, right? And so I said, as I said, I've never had any doubts about playing, and I haven't. I have always played, but have I had doubts about success constantly? And I mean, I've never actually, like I've kind of always simultaneously planned on being a rock star and knew that I would never be a rock star. Like both things, and there's been no. Yeah, it's kind of been what's in my head my whole life, and it's just what it is. Whether it's good or bad doesn't matter. It is what it is. And so anyway, so the point is, yes, I constant doubt. So and then I got this interest from a record label, which ultimately worked out, to my benefit, which was great, and I got the deal, the record deal. But when it was happening, and it's funny, we were talking about Kurt Cobain, because I am, I was born in 1970. I am the definition of Generation X, and Generation X lives by, low expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who we are, man. The world crapped on us like when we were born. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, that's what we're getting into, this mess, and it's only gotten messier since, so somebody like me looks around and goes, okay, I thought the world was shit when I thought things were a mess when I was 16 years old, and now at 52, I think I was right, So anyway, the point is that I've always kind of doubted, the success of it. So I expected that to fail. I expected the record deal not to come through. And Kilo just said, dude, why would you think that? Just think, yes, it will, and it will. And I'm like, well, no, again, Generation X, Kurt Cobain. I don't think like that. Yes, it will. What? But I did.
Know when you have a crippled person that does lots of things he shouldn't be able to do, telling you just have faith in it, the process, maybe it helps you out a little bit.
It did indeed, my friend. It did indeed. And that's my point. That's the point. Exactly. It was awesome.
I can remember a few instances, like for instance, the most vivid one that comes to mind that I probably talked about in the earlier first season is when I was at Blockbuster, which was like my favorite place to go after band practice or after anything. I just loved Blockbuster. We're all like, sweaty from band practice in the garage. We're all like talking about music, and we're in Blockbuster, and this dude walks up and he's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Cool, you're in a band. And we're like, yeah. And he's like, who's the drummer? And I said, I was. And he said, no, really, who's the drummer? And I was like, you should honestly go fuck yourself.
Right on.
Like, that's one of those moments where like I could have gotten that self-doubt idea later on in life, where it's like, damn, like I'm not even a drummer in someone's mind. But then I was just like, well, you can just straight fuck yourself. Like my brain just goes, no, fuck off. But like that is kind of the moment where some people could have lost faith in themselves.
Yeah.
Yet I became a better drummer. And I don't know why my personality is like that. But now I'll give you an example of when I did lose faith in a certain aspect of production, where I had a good friend who works at Icon, Bernie, and Bob knows who Bernie is, helped me out with it. It was after the first of the 4 blocks of schooling you have to take, or had to take back then. And the end of the first block, I felt like I failed the fuck out of the final for the the class for like making sounds, like the sound design class.
Right. Sounds
Because I knew the sounds were completely fucking not right. You were
Right.
allowed to use any plugin that you wanted, except for ones that make them for you. And like you had to recreate famous sounds like Skrillex sound, or this, that. I fucking know I failed that. I know I did. And so I'm like upset, and I went to Bernie and I was like, Bernie, I need to take synthesis again. Like,
Right.
how do I re-enroll for level 1 synthesis? Because I did not pass, and Paul was nice enough to pass me, which
Right.
Paul probably knew. He probably knew that I knew enough to go on to the next level because
Right.
he's. Anyways, so I was like really down on myself. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know how to make sounds at all. And Bernie was like, just practice the entire break. We had like a week or 2 week break. He's like, practice the whole break and then come back to me after you go to the first class of the second level. And
Right.
I did that, and I just sat in the studio the entire break and worked on sounds. Didn't do a great job, but did it and did it and did it. And luckily I did that because the very first class of the next block, another teacher, Ryan, was my teacher, and the way he explained things just made more sense to my brain.
Right.
It wasn't that he was a better teacher, but it was that my brain was like, oh shit, that's what that means.
Yeah. Everybody
So-
learns differently. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I had lost faith fully on my own. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't anybody else telling me I couldn't do it. I was having the teacher give me a B or something so that I would pass. But I don't know where inside of me that lack of faith was. But luckily, I had people around like Bernie who said, no, just try.
Yeah.
At
Man.
least
Just
try. and
Trust
you-
yourself.
Yeah, and I think like
Gotta try.
people in our industry or other industries, need to at least go and try, like, and not
think
lose,
I-
especially not.
Yeah, I think that is honestly, if anything, that is my philosophy about just about anything in life. It's not just this industry or whatever. It's not about whether it's not even about like achieving your goals and things like it
Right.
is about that. But I mean that just like with me, I always talk about you have to try like to be a good person, right? And that's our job, and to be human here is to try to be better than our programming. I had said that I wrote that one time for something. Somebody had asked me, it was like some website that I was on or whatever, and they wanted me to give my advice to other artists or something, or other people, and my advice was just, and they were going to publish or whatever. And my advice was just be better than your programming. And,
Right.
and they wouldn't publish. She was like, I don't understand what that means. And I was like, what? How can you not understand what that means? Okay.
How do you not know what that means?
I know. I was just like, I don't know how to. I was like, well, be better than your, natural. Be better than what you're born with. Be better than just like your default. Improve upon yourself. But like the fact that they never used it because they didn't. So maybe my little saying isn't as good as I think it is. But anyway,
Let's see.
But
Because I always. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
anyway, so basically that was it. I always felt like try was sort of the mantra of just being a human. You need to try. You need to try to be better than
Right.
everything you're doing.
It's funny, and me and Bob have talked about this in private many times, how we're the yin and yang of each other. Like we are like always just everything's a little bit the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
I honestly have come to feel the opposite of that, which is that when we're born, we're fine and we learn, we downgrade through life until we're like my grandma talked about in season 1, where she lives in an old folks, well, not an assisted living, and she says the people are so close-minded and so judgmental, and I feel like we almost kind of narrow into shittiness as we get older.
Well,
And-
if we choose to. I mean, keep in
Right.
mind the woman saying that was like 97 years old, and she was
Right.
not like that. So she
Yeah,
chose.
that is true. That is true. But also, I think honestly, I think it's funny. You said the mantra of life is try, and I think it's the opposite, which is don't try, just do. Instead of, because if you say try, then you're having to hope you're doing something. But if you
Right,
do,
right.
Don't try, just do to me means like, you
That's
just,
Yoda, man.
okay,
That's the
well,
Yoda quote. That's
I didn't know that. I was
There
just,
is no try. There is only do and
maybe
do
that's
not.
where I learned it because I watched Star Wars over and over as a kid.
yeah, but,
So,
I don't get any props for my Yoda impression there. I thought I did a really good job.
You did so
Huh?
good that I thought you played it on the computer. I did. I
There
actually
is
didn't know that came out of your mouth.
I
Go
do,
ahead.
I do it all the time. And my kid hates it, and laughs at me because that quote, exactly that quote,
that there is no try. There is no try. There is only do and do not.
so there's only do and do. There's no
Fucking
try. There's only do.
lit, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking lit. I just feel like if you have in your mind when something comes up that you're going to try to do it, you already have the option of failure in your mind. And whether or not that makes me succeed more often doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is doing it without the mindset of what could it be like if I don't succeed makes things a little bit easier to try. I
Right.
said try.
Well,
It's more easier
yeah,
to accomplish.
I guess my point when I say try is like, everything, and this is something along the lines of what your father your father has said before, where, basically life is just this constant series of choices. Every
Right.
moment is a choice. Everything you do is a choice. And that gets into the whole multiverse thing where like when you make a choice, the opposite choice becomes a parallel universe and yada,
I
yada.
believe in that, but
Yeah, sure, man. It's awesome. Rock on. But anyway, so the but the point of that, right, is that when I say try, is that like when you're presented with choices, try to make the right one. And I do say, and I do mean try, because you're not always going to be right. You're going to sometimes make the wrong one, but you're going to try to do the right thing. You know what I mean? An example that has broken my heart recently was a dog. We found that dog. Remember, I had that dog
yeah.
that I found, and and then we were watching online at the local dog finding websites on Facebook and things, and so somebody found the owner, so we gave him back, and thought I was doing the right thing, and the
Right.
dog ended up getting lost again, and I don't know if he's ever been found, but we saw him lost again, and it just devastated me because I wanted that dog, And so that's the thing. It's like now I don't know if did I do the right thing, because I was definitely trying to, because this dog had like kids that had, you know what I mean? But then like in the end, I probably maybe I did the wrong thing for the dog, and that's terrible. And it's just awful. And I don't know. Or maybe I did the right thing is somebody else has the dog and the dog's living a great life and everything's groovy. I don't know,
I had a wonderful real world, hilariously bad example of when I did that 2 days ago. Okay, so I was walking my dog. My dad was with me. I wanted to run back here and send an email, right? And so I live in a gated complex. So I'm going back through the complex to go send, I think, Bob an email. And this very nice young lady stopped me and she said, "Do you know where the leasing office is?" And I was like, "I got this. I'm going to be passing it anyways." And I didn't know how to explain it exactly. So I go and I lead her towards it. And it said like, I was going to take her in the back door. That sounds horrible. I was going to go into the clubhouse to go through it and then to the leasing office. And it said closed for renovation, right? So we'll get back to that part in a second. So I'm like, okay, I got this. We'll go out the front gate and then you can just go in the front where you're supposed to be anyways. And she was like, okay. And she followed me, blah, blah, blah. And like, I let her out and everything. I let her out the gate with my little clicky thing because somehow she parked inside the complex because she got lost and waited for a car to come in. So her car is inside the gate. So I let her out and I'm all proud of myself. And I tell my dad and he's like, "Do you know where the leasing office is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've lived here longer than you have." And he goes, "No, leasing office right now is in building 3 because the leasing office is under renovation." So I met this poor woman. I
into like
walked
a
this poor
building
woman
that's under
out of the
renovation.
gate and basically locked her away from her car. Yet in my heart, I was trying to do like,
We're trying to do the right thing.
I went out of my way to be nice, and it was probably the meanest thing that's ever happened to her.
That's the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
I know, right? So then I was like, I'm never fucking doing anything nice ever again.
I
Because
know.
if
So there you go.
no, she wouldn't have gotten locked out of the complex away from her vehicle.
You
Like-
ever, That's so funny. Well, how I love Futurama, right? Futurama is like my favorite thing ever. And here we go. I got Bender right here. There's Bender.
I love
And,
Futurama.
I got Futurama stuff all over. But anyway, the reason I bring it up though is because our conversation here reminds me of there's an episode. I also know every episode by title, and I can basically recite
That's
the
amazing.
episode.
I love that.
No, it's insane and dorky, and I probably, it's just another example of my of one of my many undiagnosed mental diseases that I've got.
No, being obsessed with something is cool, bro.
Yeah, right. But anyway, the point being is that there's an episode called Godfellas, and Godfellas it's won like Emmy Emmy awards and stuff, and it's Futurama is a great show. It's won a lot of awards, and it's written by a bunch of PhDs in science and stuff. It's really a great show, and it's coming back next year. But anyway, Godfellas is crazy. So Bender gets shot out of his spaceship. Bender gets shot out of his spaceship as a torpedo. And the spaceship's
examples of everything.
I got the ship around here too somewhere.
Didn't I buy it for your
Yeah,
birthday?
yeah,
Or
so there you go. There's the ship.
so Bender gets shot
Ships
out of
ships flying along, and they shoot a torpedo out of the ship at another ship, but it's not a
Oh, is that
torpedo.
the one where he becomes God because he's
There you
like,
go, Godfellas.
okay.
Yeah, so they can't catch him. I mean, the show is always breaking its own rules, which is fun, so they can't catch him because he's already going faster than maximum speed. So he's doomed to wander through the universe forever. And he meets God, and he first becomes God. So first a little asteroid hits him, and there's these little Lilliputians that live on his, and they build a world on his body. And then they destroy one another, and he screws up being God all over the place. He's terrible at it. He constantly tries to help, constantly kills everybody. He's terrible. And then he meets the actual God or whatever, or God, God himself doesn't acknowledge himself as God. He just says, it's possible that I'm God, so he's this, kind of computerized supernova kind of crazy thing in the universe. And so basically they talk about that, and Bender's like, I was God once, and he's like, yes, I saw that, you were doing quite well until everyone died, it's like
right.
the point of it, like, and God says to Bender, he's like, the thing is, he's like, the difficult, if you do too much, it'd be disastrous if you do not enough, whatever, blah blah. The point is, and then he says, if you do something right, sometimes no one will notice you've done anything at all, and
Right.
and that's the point of the story, is that trying to do the right thing is always doing the right thing is impossible. And sometimes when you try and you constantly try to do the right thing, you're going to either make the wrong choice, or maybe there's no good choice. Maybe every choice is bad.
Knock someone out of your apartment complex.
Right. But you still got to try. I'm not sure how we got down that road, but
Doesn't
anyway.
matter. I mean, I agree, but it's so funny because I tried real hard to be the nice guy, and it totally seemed probably like I did it on purpose. Because I even walked her out there and helped her out of the gate.
And you look like crazy heavy metal punk rocker kid too. So
Well, my hair was like not this
okay.
mess of a thing.
Not the
Anyway,
short-haired Kurt Cobain.
I guess we were just talking about trying and like, and I mean, people tell themselves they can't a lot because of things they either heard from their parents, their teachers, a girlfriend, for fuck's sake. Luckily, I had really good girlfriends that were very positive influences in my life. It's funny I say that because they're ex-girlfriends, but they always had good impacts towards me having enough confidence to be a producer in LA with a podcast and blah, blah, blah. But we do along the road of life have people tell us certain things, which this didn't happen to me recently, but I was debating, like, why do I think people like lose faith in something they started? And if they started, they probably had faith in themselves at one point. And I assumed it was from other people, not from themselves.
Well, other people do tend to be pretty shitty to other people, so I think you've got a good point there. I don't know. I've never understood how anybody works, so I don't know. But yeah,
Right.
I think you're right though. I think that, we are innately, we have no reason to doubt ourselves innately, right? We have no reason
Right.
to be angst ridden or doubtful or insecure or anything when we're when we get started. So anything like that that happens to us is caused by the people around us, I would think. But
Or the voice, or the
around us,
people
it's the
that
whole world.
used
I
to
don't
be around you, like the voices in the back of your head saying you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Well, because I heard a motivational speaker talking about once, like for every negative thing that's told you, it takes like 14 positive affirmations to fix it or something. That sucks.
I believe that. Yeah.
Fucking sucks. Like,
Yeah.
luckily, I guess as a defense mechanism from being in a wheelchair forever, I kind of grew this mindset of I don't give a shit what you have to say. It's
Right,
what
yeah.
I have to say in my own head. But
Yeah.
like something told me I wasn't good at synthesis when I had to want to redo that class. So there is something within me that still told me that.
Right.
I think that's just a normal thing. And I hope that anyone out there trying to start a new thing right now, just at least try. How about that? How about that? Right? Because everything that you think you want to try, but you think it might be too hard. And so you're like, no, I'll probably fail. So you don't try, you've already failed. If you don't try, you failed. If you do try and you fail, you're back to where you were before you didn't try.
And you might have a lot of fun in the process.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like, so you talk about the whole, what I was talking about, the rock star thing and everything else, and the whole, I'm gonna be a rock star, I'm not gonna be a rock star. The truth is that in the end, it didn't really matter. I mean, again, it's been a 30-year lifetime of music so far. And I'm just kind of getting started in a lot of ways with some things, new endeavors with you and everything else. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the goal, like the dream, wasn't yet achieved yet. but it wasn't yet achieved. That doesn't matter because like I said, you have a lot of fun along the way. There's a lot of cliches that could throw in there that would be appropriate, and they would be appropriate. Like, life is a journey, not a destination, all that stuff. And that's the thing, man. Being in a band all through the 90s was a freaking blast. I was on the road playing colleges, meeting cool people and girls and playing in crazy stages in front of thousands of people, and partying my ass off. And it was a hell of a lot of fun. So I didn't get to be a rock star, but I kind of did.
Right.
I kind of lived like one. So it was pretty great. So rock on, man.
And with that, and sometimes the goals we want, the things we're looking for, and Christians say it like God knows the plan or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But like when we think I want this or I want that, like I know lots of things that I wanted to happen when I was an adult, when I was a kid, that if it had happened, it would have sucked. You go through phases where you're like, I wanted this. And it's like, that wouldn't have been as good as where you are now because you like let life happen. So sometimes like there's obviously goals like being a rock star that is like something built into you and like you have kept that. But I'm sure you can even come up with random examples of things you really liked or really wanted to do or something that if it had happened, you wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Oh, 100,000 things. Absolutely. From, which job you take to which girl you date to which band you join and whatever it is,
And at the end of the day, does it really even matter or is it just a pile of choices and then you die?
Well, again, we've talked about this before, what matters, what doesn't matter and everything else. And, I don't know that I don't know that it matters if things matter. You know what I mean? Like,
but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are watching this or whatever that have had moments where like they think too much about whether they're making the right choice or not and maybe miss opportunities. You know what I mean? And what I'm trying to say is maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's just
sure. Yeah. I mean, the Buddhist in me would say that when I say it just doesn't matter, right? And what I mean is that like when you're sitting here, you're going, so I'm sitting here on this day and I did this a week ago and I did this, made this choice a week ago. I made this choice 10 years ago. And if you start, and that's who I am now, and there I am. if you went
Right.
around doing a bunch of what ifs and whatnots and how, who I could have been, I mean,
Right.
you're no longer existing where you actually exist. You're no longer there. You're not living anymore. You're worrying, your mind is existing somewhere else in the past, and a future that do not exist.
Right.
That the future that did not happen and will never happen, and a past that isn't the way you remember it was. So,
That's
you
true.
know, so get back to the present and stop. That's what I do, what I tell myself when I get it, because I get anxious and worried and everything all the time. I'm no freaking, shaman, that's for sure. But I try to be. I try, and that's the thing. And I try, and I bring myself back by reminding myself that I am, the things that, when we talk about what matters, right? Like I don't like people, we humans always want like our existence to be important in the
Right.
universe. Not just the human race's existence importance, but that, we want that to be important, but we also want our individual existence to be important in the whole universe. And, that's from wanting to be a rock star, right? To wanting to find enlightenment, or to find God or whatever. And the truth is that like our definition of what's important gets so screwy that we think that like if we're famous, we're important. If we're like really, really enlightened and we get to sit next to God, then we're important. And that's just not how it works. You know what I mean? Like what's important is the universe. Existence is important, and we're part of it. And that's what's important, and dig being part of it. You know what I mean? That's the thing, man. Dig being part of it.
It's like being on a roller coaster and being like, I want to build a roller coaster, but enjoy being on the fucking roller coaster that you're on. Don't
Exactly.
think about you're going to build a roller coaster or you want to become a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just fucking enjoy the roller coaster.
Right.
And
You
about-
don't get on and go, I can't wait to get to the end of the roller coaster. If
Right.
you do feel that way, don't get on the roller coaster.
Stay at the end because it's a fucking circle.
Yeah.
Just stay where you're at and you've made it to
Exactly.
the
If that's all you want, just stay
right,
there.
exactly. Something you said about the, trying not to go back to the past. I think, surprisingly, I remember what movie this is from. I think it's from Kung Fu Panda, right? But I'm
Nice.
going to just say what. Oh, you know what I'm going to say? Okay,
No,
so
I just like that it's from Kung Fu Panda.
basically, like something that made a difference to me is when I heard in some movie somewhere someone say, if you're living in the past, it's as if you died because the past is gone and dead. And if
Right.
you're living in the future, it's as if you never existed at all. So live in the present. I
Mhm.
mean,
Right on.
basically, I think he said it way fucking better than that, the little turtle guy. But like, I really take that to heart. Like, those two places do not exist. They're
Yeah.
both being dead sounds sucky, and being like never existed sucky. So live in this moment, because this moment is always going to be this moment. There's
Yeah.
no other moment. Yeah.
And the truth is it's hard, and it's hard to do that, and it's hard to be happy. Being happy is a difficult thing, and to achieve happiness is hard, and you have to like, and I don't know why, and I don't know why. That's to me, that's one of the great mysteries of the universe, the world is, why is it so hard to be alive? You know what I mean? Why, like, and I don't mean for me, because I got it pretty easy, honestly, but I mean for most people, for the world. I mean, it's just being alive is tough,
Right.
whether, whatever your issue may be, whether you're in a wheelchair or you're a nut job, or what I mean, whatever it could be.
But
It's
do
hard.
have problems. We're
Yeah.
not like, I mean, I look like a nice, wonderful blonde human being, but I mean, I'm a very crippled person. That hand doesn't work. I mean, I like it. It's fun. But I mean, so that's not coming from two little white dudes sitting here like in studios telling you everything will be okay. It's coming
Right,
from
yeah.
people who live their lives and had shit upon them and choose or found ways, just like the beginning of the show when we talked about my parents moving to Oklahoma and studying Christianity, like you find ways to make the shit show not as shitty.
Exactly.
Say when you're born, welcome to the shit show. Like
Right.
that's basically what it is. And then you have to learn how to be and I think how I've done that, and probably Bob has done that, is finding things that we deem meaningful
Mhm.
and doing that as much
Yeah.
as we like making music, right? Like if I've made more music or done stuff with music, I feel like I had a successful day. And I don't ever like feel like, poor me, I'm in a wheelchair. So what? I have other things. Like they say that the idle mind is the devil's playground, right? Well, it's like if you fill your
don't know.
mind with shit you need to pay attention to, like how many songs are we working on right now, Bob?
Oh
Like
yeah, we have to remind each other every day which
so
ones
many.
we don't
It's
forget.
over 5 or more.
Oh
And
yeah, there's more than that, yeah.
so my mind, I like how your hands are clasped, Bob. Look at that. That looks cool. Anyways,
Oh,
it
that
looks
does look
cool
neat,
because
yeah.
of the light. Yeah. But I mean, I find that when I have more things I'm doing, I find more happiness. And I think it is necessary to point out, Bob, I think happiness is an emotion, but joy is a state of being. So I don't think it's happiness that we necessarily search for, because every emotion is a moment to moment thing, right?
Right,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if like this podcast gets crashed by King Matt Black again, we're not going to be happy right this second, right? Which I don't think he'll do that right now. But
Yeah.
point being, but joy is like a state of being where like I don't know exactly what that means, but it's like a place within you that even if you say, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm nothing, you still have that underlying way of, I guess it's a perspective almost, like a way of looking at life.
The Dalai Lama always smiles. He's got no good reason to be smiling all the time. The guy is I mean, he is the spiritual leader of a country that he's not allowed to go to. I mean, he's been
Right.
exiled from Tibet his whole life, and he's got no good reason to be happy. He's happy
Right.
all the time, always smiling, always joyful. It's because of exactly what you're saying. You know, you choose, and it's, and that's the thing. But I like that when I point out that it's hard to be happy, it's hard to live, it's hard to be. And the reason I pointed that out is not to complain about it or to feel
No,
bad
right,
about it,
right.
but
No,
it's right. But if you think about like the Dalai Lama, right, or like any Buddhist monk or any religious sort of devotee or leader, right, whether it's a Christian monk or a Buddhist monk or a Muslim, monk or what, or sheik or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. The point is that they what is the point? What was I saying there?
oh yes, you did it this
No,
time.
no,
You
I
did
got it.
it
I got
this
it. I
time.
got it.
Damn it.
I got it. I got it.
I
Um,
keep getting close this episode. I keep getting close to that, but then I clicked it.
No, my point is the reason those folks still exist, right? The reason that the Dalai Lama is still a practicing monk, meaning he goes through his routines every day, and they're very regimented. The true Zen Buddhist and Tibetan, he's a Tibetan Buddhist, but the true Buddhist devotees, the monks, they have these routines they go through their day. This is how they do their tea. This is how they sit. This is where they walk. And we all get up and walk in. And it's all a matter of and it's all like constant regimented activities to remain focused on the present moment and to keep
Right.
to train their minds. And if it was easy to be happy, they wouldn't have to do any of that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
and if it was something you could just achieve, you got there, then cool, I'm done. Then the Dalai Lama wouldn't have to do any of that stuff. He'd already be done. He's already
Right.
like the most enlightened being on the planet. So why has he got to go through all that stuff? And it's like because it takes a lot of work to be happy. And
Yeah.
there's no point in complaining. I'm a happy person. And even though I'm acknowledging all of that it's very difficult to be happy, and it's not even, I don't even think it's our default state, but
Right.
I think that the key is to not to not worry about it. Like, who cares that
Right.
that it should be.
Right.
Doesn't matter that it should be. It just is what it is. So live and exist now.
Right.
That's what I do.
I mean, first off, I think I should point out, I think we all have routines, and we have
Sure.
unconscious routines that we do unconsciously, kind of brain worm fucking numbing shit where it's like we do have a routine. You know, everybody has some kind of a routine. You wake up, you turn the fucking YouTube on or the news on, or whatever. You know, and we usually as humans have those routines, but it's when we have a conscious routine of this is what I'm going to do. And we stop letting it be a passive thing, and it's more of a proactive thing is when it kind of can help us become happy. Right. And I would suggest to anybody who's like, yeah, I try to be happy and I can't, try to be sad right this fucking moment. Just try, unless something bad just happened, please don't do that
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that myself.
No, but my point being is it is hard because you try, right? Like try to be pissed off right now. If you're in a really good mood right now, just try to be mad. It takes effort. And
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So it's not just hard to be happy. It's hard to adjust, to change our thought patterns.
Right.
It's hard to adjust where our minds are going to be. And then when we get them there, then we want to keep them to the place that we like. So that's
Right.
that
It's an emotion, not a state of being. So it's never gonna stay. It's a thing. It's like getting like a really awesome coffee drink at Starbucks or something and being like, I want this forever. But you also want to drink it, right? It's gonna be gone, but you're gonna buy another one tomorrow morning. So why would you let this one waste and put it in your fridge? Like just drink it, enjoy it for the moment, and know that eventually it's gonna go away. Just like that's what happiness is. It's like something that's like a reoccurring thing that comes and goes and comes and goes.
Yeah.
But if you do this right now and you do become angry and you're successful, very successful, and leave a hateful comment in the message box saying, fuck you guys, I would suggest you figure out what it took you to get to that place and then reverse it and use that to be happy. Because if you can achieve that, then you can also do the reverse of that.
Sure. Right.
You know, I don't know, or I'm just crazy and
No,
I'm
makes sense to
talking
me, man.
crazy talk. So
Sense to me.
anyways, before we go into the end of this episode where we ask random questions, I'd like to suggest if you guys are having doubts in yourself at any point this week before we are on here again, just try. Just like Bob said, I'm going to use what Bob said. Just try, because
try.
you never know what will happen. A no is a no if you never try.
There you go, man. Right on.
Okay. So thank you for watching, everybody. We love you all. And we are now going to play the wonderful question game.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I thought you were signing off there.
Bro, come on, bro.
I know. I was wondering.
I love this part because I love the questions we come up with. They mean as much as the answers that the other person has.
Right.
It's like, where's your mind at? Why did you ask that fucking weird question? So,
all right. Want me to go for? I have a question, so I can go first.
got it. Go first.
Or unless you wanted to. Did you want to go?
No. Trust
right,
me, I have nothing.
All right.
Mind break.
All right. So mine, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna ask you a question I already know the answer to from you, but I want to ask you the question because I want you to answer it and tell people about it. So,
Okay.
And my question is, we were talking about happiness, talking about getting happy and being happy and everything. So this would be the music question. What is a song that just the song alone can make you happy?
I would not have known this answer. I know, Bob, you're a sneaky man.
Yes, that's what I'm
Sneaky
asking.
man. Now the true question in here is not what is the song. Well, I'm looking it up, but I think the true question is why does it make you? Why does it do that? Why does it make you feel that way? Right.
Right.
I don't know, because I think that it's easy for most people to point out a song, which I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking up the name. It's called Sylvia by Mike Snow, Robot Burgett remix. Now, this is an 8-minute song, Bob. 8 minutes, right?
Yeah. It's an awesome song. I listened to it. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's amazing, but it's an 8-minute song, and that's coming from an artist such as myself that writes 2.5 to very long, to me, 3-minute songs. I write songs that are like, what the fuck just happened?
That's awesome.
Sometimes at 2 minutes, I'm pushing it. But with that song, I was listening to it over and over again when I first found it, and I'll tell you how I found it in a second. And I fucking did not know until the next day it was an 8-minute song, because that song makes me so unbelievably happy that
That's
I
awesome.
didn't want 8 minutes to go away. And I wonder, and I posed this to Bob, I showed him the song, and I was like, why does this make me so happy? Because could be stressed out and it comes on my playlist. I'm like, wow, life is fucking beautiful and
Right.
wonderful.
Yep.
And one theory I have is it's more of a nostalgic thing, even though I just found the song, but like remembering when you first heard the song. Because
Right.
like we've talked about this whole last few episodes, because I've been watching the show on Netflix called Lucifer. You should check it out if you haven't seen it, because it has a lot of life lessons and stuff in it. But I saw that song in a really cool scene in that show where like this character that they're just introducing is having like a beautiful, wonderful time. And it just reminded me of like shows I've played or times I jumped on the trampoline with my sister and my dad, or like just amazing moments. And when I saw this character being that happy, I was like, damn. So I think possibly that's what it is that
Right.
the first time I heard it, it took me back to amazing memories.
That's awesome, man.
But that song, if you guys haven't heard it, look it up and enjoy your 8 minutes. But Bob, what did you say you thought it was that made it make me so happy that it's like kind of meditationist?
Well, I mean, it's a remix, right? And it's very it's very trance-like, like a little bit like like the genre trance, but also trance-like, like trance-inducing, like the genre trance is, and I think that it's very meditative, it's more interesting. I mean, like I like trance music, but trance music is super repetitive. It just and the song you're talking about is not. I mean, it's a lot more interesting than that. It's melodic and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song, but it does have that sort of pulsing trance-like feel to it. And I think that that kind of meditative feel to it. That's what I got from it anyway. It's a beautiful song. I really liked it. I thought it was awesome.
It is a great song. What about you, Bob?
Well, I was, while you were talking, I was thinking of like, I'm going to answer this question. And, I'm, 500 years old and I've been listening to music every minute of that time. So I have 1,000 different answers for this question, right? For different songs that make me happy. But one thing you were saying, like when you were talking about it, you were asking the question, why? Like, why does the song make you happy? And so one of the top ones that pop into my head, because mine are weird, like mine are like one of the best, the one I was going to say is Can't You See by Marshall Tucker Band, which is not a happy song. It's a sad song. The guy talks about killing himself because the woman's done him wrong. Yeah, it's a terribly depressing song. And it's Southern rock, which I don't even listen to.
Right.
I mean, it's just not my kind of music at all. I mean, it's guitar, but it's just, but I love that song. But that got me thinking the other one. And now I'm thinking I like the flute, because one thing about that song that I love is it's got a flute. It plays the main lead.
That's
yeah. I really like the solo. And then the other song that popped into my head also has the flute as the lead. And it's Going Up the Country by Canned Heat. Canned Heat was 60s sort of super hippie kind of like grungy bluesy rock band, right? Just stoned out of their minds, hippies, and Going Up the Country is actually a ripoff of, I've just found this out. So let me see, I'm looking at my phone because there's a reason for all of this story. The song makes me happy because it's a good little kind of, I'll play a couple minutes of it in a minute so you can hear what I'm talking about. It's a groovy little kind of bluesy tune with a flute playing the main lead. And but it also makes me happy because we used to do it when I was younger. I was like when we did the Distractions, we were doing covers. It was like me and Todd and Matto, my two best friends. And my buddy Todd, who I still play with, he's the bass player that I play with now when I play live and shoe and everything else. And he's my best friend. And anyway, so we're doing the song probably in like 1989. And he's saying the lead on this one because it's very high. The vocals are real high and he's got a real high voice. So, but he's saying, and he always had this goofy, to get the note right, he'd be like, "Going to the country." When I play it, you'll know what I'm talking about because it's a weird voice the guy's got. And just that memory of Todd singing this song that I love. It is this goofball face. We used to laugh every time he did it. Like every time he'd start playing, then Matto and I, the drummer, and I would just start cracking up because he just looked ridiculous. So anyway, the song now 30 years later still makes me happy because
Yeah.
I love the song, but also because that memory pops into my head every time.
Right.
And you know, that's the reason I was saying it's actually a ripoff of an old blues tune. And I'm looking on my phone because I still, just a couple days ago, I was talking, it's called Bulldoze Blues by Henry Thomas is the original. But I'll tell you, I'll play the song that I was talking about originally, so you can hear what I'm, at least somebody can be in on what I'm talking about, because I'm the only one that knows what the hell I'm saying right now.
Absolutely. Yes, you are. 100%.
All right. I'm gonna say share sound. All right, so you can see my screen now. You see the little, all right, let's do this.
We do not hear it.
Oh yeah, it's on mute here.
Place to yourself,
You hear
just you and your people.
it? All
His
right,
name
here's the
is-
song. I hope it's the video. Here's some dirty hippie
Oh,
stuff.
you're really good tonight. You know, this is the most outrageous spectacle I've ever
Oh, this
witnessed.
is at
ever.
Woodstock. This
There's
is
only
awesome.
one thing I wish. I sure gotta pee,
I'm glad we're watching this. This is cool.
and this ain't nowhere to go. I believe we're gonna go up the country a little bit right now.
There you go. That's a real Woodstock. Here you go.
Oh yeah, that's a happy song.
Yeah. And let's get to the point where he starts singing. You'll hear the voice.
I like this song, bro.
Dirty hippie. Love 'em. There you go. That
That-
song. That song. And I always love that line too. Even though I don't drink anymore, I still love that line. That I'm going where the water tastes like wine. Gonna jump in the water and stay drunk all the time.
That's a great line, though. I mean, it's horrible. Don't do that. Anybody that's watching, but you know, it's done this action. But that is a good line for a song.
Yeah, that's a great song. Like I said, it's a ripoff of what was it? Henry Thomas Bulldoze Blues. I wonder if I could find that, because that, like, it's pretty amazing how much of a
Or
ripoff
you
it is.
can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Why not, right? It's all in
Is
good.
it playing a ripoff like they admit it, or is it like they were inspired by it and didn't realize?
I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that they have different titles and the music is exactly the same. And
That's
here, all right, so let's see. I'm gonna share
Talking about
that.
that with weed, about me and you talked in a bit like by ourselves about how one of my bands wrote a song and it never came out, never played it live, and then like 2 years after it, the same exact beginning and like chorus was in another metal band song, which they
Right.
probably
Okay, you gotta listen though, because
Go ahead.
there's no way this is an accident. They took this note for note. Same exact melody. The music, the guitar's the same.
I'm going away, baby, and it won't be long.
Exactly the same.
I'm going away, and it won't be long.
Yeah, they changed the lyrics a little bit, but not much.
but it's
But they-
literally the man but down, but
Yeah. It's the exact same song. The guitar is the same, the flute is the same. He's playing like a tin whistle, I think, but it's the same thing. It's so anyway, but I don't know. Maybe, you know, I gotta look up the history of that and see. I don't know if I just discovered that. I doubt it, or if you know, hopefully the descendants of Henry Thomas were properly compensated for
I'm
his
sure
contribution to
hoping so,
Candida.
because that was craziness.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's the music business. So
Right.
next,
That is
next
true.
question.
I've been thinking, I have two different questions and I'm trying to think of which one I want to ask. I guess I'll ask this one. Name something that you feel like you have progressed in musically in the last year. Like kind of pumping yourself up, saying, I can get better at this or whatever.
Right. The last year, I can honestly say like everything. It's been a very, very good year musically for me and for you and for what you and I have done together. I mean, and so that's kind of an obvious answer because we've done a lot of really cool music.
Okay, I worded that horribly.
No, but I have a slightly less obvious answer, right? I have a tangent off of that answer.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's that unexpectedly, my guitar playing has improved significantly. And obviously that, I mean, I've been playing for 30 years, 31, 32 years or something like that. So clearly I didn't just miraculously after 32 years get to be a better guitar player, but I am a much looser and more confident lately with my playing and than I ever have been. And a lot of that is I've been doing some live gigs for the first time in a couple of years, really, because of COVID. And I've been doing these solo gigs where I play that guitar, that jazzy guitar there solo without any accompaniment, which I never would have done before. I would always want a bass, or I'd be playing an acoustic guitar because it's got a fuller sound. But playing that, I can play, I can do jazz, I can do good, I can really kind of have some fun. And it's gone really, really well. And so that's been the thing. On that note, Wednesday, I had a gig and downtown Glens Falls, the town I live in, or downtown there. And I live streamed it on our TikTok. And a lot of people watched, a bunch of people watched, and they gave me money.
Fucking dope.
Yeah, it was like 1,000 people watching, and I made like $5 in tips or something. However, I don't know how that works on TikTok. It just said that we made $5 from that live stream. I was like, oh, that's
wonderful. Yeah, no, about one thing you said, I guess I want to have you touch on is, you said like you've been playing guitar for years, but you've like progressed recently. And I recently had a friend talking about something, tell me like, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Clearly you can, because your example was that.
Old dog.
I'm not saying you're old, but
I'm saying I'm old.
This person was younger than you and saying that.
Yeah,
And
no, I know.
I was like, no, bro, my dad is like fucking old and he learns new things all the time.
Yeah.
Like you never, and I guess that just goes back to mindset. If you think that that's how it works, that's how it's going to be. But if you don't, and another thing, the one other thing I want to touch on what you said is I think what you were kind of saying in the reverse of what I said earlier is it's like who you have around you. Because like, for instance, I was saying like maybe a teacher, ex-girlfriend, parent told you something negative when you were younger. Well, you've been, and I'm not pumping myself up, I'm really sorry that I'm doing this, but it's a good example. You've been working with me and I tell you how good your shit is.
That's true.
It's fucking great.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
I'm not making you good, so I'm pumping us both up, but it's like, if I ask you for guitar for Love for Liberty and you give me fucking metal guitar and you didn't even know it, like that's really good, right? Like,
well, yeah, and I think another way of saying that, to your point, right, is that you're if you're gonna do no matter what you do, no matter what your profession is or your art is or what your business is, whatever it might be, you're going to do it better in a positive work environment. You're going to do it better, around people that are enjoying their work and they're enjoying working with you and they're, and that are encouraging of your talents and everything else.
Right.
And I say this, I mean, I'm sure there are some people that have worked with me in the past that if they were to watch this, they'd be like, what the hell, Bob? You don't create positive work environments. And the truth is, you can't create positivity if you're not happy yourself. You can't make it a positive work environment if you're unhappy, So anyway, the point of all that is not the past, but yes, I agree with you 100% that our relationship working together creatively and, just how we work with each other and how we are as friends has been tremendously, I think, helpful for both of us creatively.
Oh, for me, for sure, dude. I will now answer my question.
Right.
My music is like 100 million times better right now.
Right
It
on.
just is. It just is because of Bob, because the creativeness never goes. Bob and King Matt Black, and even this girl that we have done a remix for recently, and then working with Christian Cole, who you should look up, like working with everybody around.
Mhm.
Suddenly, especially if you're the one mixing and mastering everything, you have to learn new techniques. You have to look shit up. I went to school and I'm still looking up, like, what ratio to use on the limiter at the end if you're doing this kind of music or that, or if you want the kick to this or that, how much compression, blah, 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 blah. Like, I think that, but mainly Bob, because it took my music from being melodies and bass to like now I have fucking guitar chords in my songs. I have crazy shit going on. And I've suddenly started making this completely different genre than I had made. Like I mean, it still says on my website that I'm like a trap artist, which I'm not necessarily anymore. I do.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Well, we've done some of the music we've done is in its own genre. Fluke is not anything but fluke. I don't know what you would call that.
Still though. It is
Huh?
trap.
It's got some trap hi-hats in it, but I mean, musically, it is so much more than that. You know what I
We're
mean?
talking about a song that's not out yet, but it is in an older episode.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you want to hear it, but no, I agree.
All right. Oh, so anyway, so we have more questions. We have one more question, right?
Yes. But my answer is my music just gotten
Oh,
better.
I'm sorry. You were still doing your. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. I was done anyways. I'm just saying it just went into a direction of, I think finally I had that release because I was doing your stuff and King Matt Black shit and helping Christian Cole and all these different people. It made me realize who the fuck cares what genre I'm making.
Right. Yeah.
A million blogs have labeled me as the California trap artist, whatever. Who the fuck cares? I don't care because I do so much with other people that now it doesn't matter what I'm doing. And I think as an artist or a person, you shouldn't put yourself in a box like that. I did. I guess I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just never had a box and I just found other things. But I think I did.
I think and it's just a matter of evolution as an artist. What you were doing before is not good or bad. It's just what you were doing before. What you're doing now is what you're doing now. And
right.
You know what I mean? So I think like I loved your stuff before. I loved the terror trap stuff. You know what I mean? And you loved it too. But now what you're doing, yeah. But now what you're doing is better, and so that's cool. And the truth is, if I go back and listen to anything I did in the past, and especially like some of the like for instance, like the Retribalize, you just Retribalize for me, and I had released that, and I released that a year before. The original version was one of my favorite songs I'd ever done. It's so good, and I thought it was the best ever. And then your remix, like I never even I don't listen to the original one anymore. I don't give a fuck about that. I listen to the remix is the version of the song. That is the song now, and the same thing like Low Tide Funk, same thing. I released Low Tide Funk as a simple little instrumental in 2018. And now it is this massive, like wild jazz, house, trance, crazy freaking.
I feel like if you mixed Woodstock and Tomorrowland together, you would get that song.
Right on. I love it.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's what it sounds like.
That is it. Oh, that is a perfect description of that song.
And it has
so we should talk real quickly about, we have to do more questions. I was going to say, we're going to talk about the releases that we have coming up real quick, but
I will, hopefully you guys, I will in the description of this, if you're watching now, or if you're watching it later on, I'll leave in the description of it, like the songs we're talking about, I'll link to Christian Cole, I'll link to our music, and maybe even release dates, so that then you don't have to be like rewinding this shit to remember this shit.
That's right. So,
I think before we go on to the last questions and then goodbye, I want to point out what you said about the people that you're around, right? And you said, what did you say? You said it like makes you more creative if they're doing it too, or you said something along those lines, right?
Yeah, well, I was basically saying that if you're, anyone's going to be in any area, people are going to be more productive in a positive work environment,
Right.
somewhere where
I
you
was
feel
going to
appreciated.
say,
Right.
yeah,
you
I was
know?
gonna say like, that's the beauty of where I got to do my schooling and get to be a part of Icon Collective. When you go in that building, it's a one fucking thought. The entire giant building we have now is one thought. It is, I want to produce. So
That's
you go through the halls and you hear people talking about tuning their kick drum in their house song, or like,
Yeah.
all the shit I just said I had to look up. If I walked through or rolled through those halls right now, I'm sure one person would be able to help me, let alone probably 10 people giving me different opinions of how to do it, so that then I could come up with my way of doing it. So yeah, it really is who you surround yourself with, to be honest. So if you want a positive work environment, work in a professional place, like a bigger, not sometimes like smaller places, but some place that knows
We're
how.
pretty small.
Well, I'm saying like, work for like, a bigger company, like, I don't know, Whole Foods or something, because they have their shit together in there. So they're not going to be, down on you. They're going to be doing their own shit. Like we've said before, people in California are nice because they don't have time to be an asshole. That's what makes a good work environment, is people that need to do what they have to do. So anyways, on to the next question. Everybody, you need to watch who you've been around, who you be around, because you are a product of your environment. Next question.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, that was my spiel about things.
Right. What is the next one? Oh, it's mine. I have to ask a question.
Yeah.
And I just ask a random question.
Yeah, it can't be about music though.
Can't be about music. It's gonna
Right.
be a random question. What was your phone number growing up?
The same phone number I have right now, but I'm not giving that out online.
No, I don't. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, that's a bad question, because I then would give my mom's phone number out. I'm not going to do that. So
Let's not do this
that was a
question.
stupid question. Let me try.
Yes,
Give me another
all
minute.
the way, never again will there be a worse question than that one.
That was a really stupid question.
What's your address, Bob?
I know, right? Yeah, that's awesome. All right.
In a normal environment, this would be an okay question.
So I can't ask anything about music.
Just ask it. That's fine.
All right.
Since that question did not work out.
No, it did not. No. If there was, no, I don't like that either.
Okay.
All right, hold please. I'm going to
Okay.
think of a question. I'm going to think of a good question, not a stupid question, not a question.
Well,
that
then
uses up my
again, you
mother's
couldn't
personal
have guessed that I've had the same phone number since I got a phone.
Yeah, how do you do that? What the hell? That's weird. That's crazy.
I just haven't.
Wow. All right.
I do think that's beautiful that question happened, because that question, if we were dumb, we would be getting prank phone calls like
I
all
know
the
that's the stupidest
Yeah.
question I've ever asked. All right. What is the first thing you will do tomorrow?
other than wake up.
You answer any way you see fit.
I will open up my eyes and I will sit up in the bed and I will chug an energy drink.
You are certainly okay. Well, the energy drink
No, I
was
was getting to it.
clearly I can't think of a good question today. So
No,
I
that's a
had
great question. That
not a
really
great
sounds like what you do in the morning, right?
yeah.
My
yeah.
morning routine is
You wake up and drink an energy drink.
this kind of energy drink in my system, not a sponsor, by the way, into my system as fast as possible, because I just love caffeine. So it's like I haven't caffeine for like 4 hours. What am I doing with my life? So that's, and then if you want to get more into it, then I'll answer emails and then I'll work on this new song that is very fucking fantastic. So that's a great question, actually.
Right.
What about you, Bob?
Tomorrow when I wake up, I will. My girlfriend's not here this evening, so I will most likely, the first thing I'll do is text my girlfriend, and we're normally together, and then we just had different things we had to do this evening. So I'll talk to her, Basically I have a routine that we go through around here every morning where, obviously the coffee and everything, but then there's putting peanuts out for the birds, and there's feeding the cats, and there's, just little things that we do around here that make my little country home a nice little country home.
See, so everyone does have a routine, even if they're not the Dalai Lama.
That's
They
right.
do have things
Yeah.
that they do specifically. So that was a great question. It drew, like a great comedian goes back to something they said before. I guess we're doing good at that tonight. So,
Right on.
okay,
man.
now I have to think of a question. I always look around my studio for a question, but this place is so crazy that it doesn't bring up a good question. What is, that is really a hard thing to do right now. Ooh. Wow, yeah, I'm having trouble too. Okay, what is one good movie that you've seen recently that you would suggest somebody else watches?
Good movie. See, I've been watching a lot of like TV.
Okay, good thing that you've watched recently.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a couple of them then.
Other than a music video, that doesn't count.
Right. Sandman's pretty cool. Been
Oh
watching
yeah,
Sandman.
That's
That's pretty groovy. You should watch that. Neil Gaiman's groovy, so anything he does is really pretty cool and creepy and mystical and stuff. So that's fun. And everyone in the world should watch every one of the new Star Trek series.
Oh
They're
yeah.
all awesome. Discovery is awesome. Picard is awesome. And
Star
Strange
Trek
New Worlds is
itself
freaking out.
awesome.
Everyone should watch Stranger Worlds just so it never goes away, because it's like it's just a great show. If you like the original series, the old Kirk and Spock original series of Star Trek, you should watch Strange New Worlds, because
It's
it's
amazing.
the same
It
idea.
fucking
It's
blew my mind the first time I saw the first
it's
episode.
so awesome.
Your
It's
brain is different after that first episode. It's so fucking good.
such a great show. It's the Enterprise, the same Enterprise, just a few years before Kirk was the captain and Christopher Pike is the captain. Spock is there. He's the science officer, not the first officer. And it's just so great. It's a great show.
It is great. It is definitely great.
There
Okay,
you
so me, I guess obviously I've been ranting and raving about the show Lucifer. It's not what you think it is. It's really a soap opera. My mom pointed out every time I'm like excited and I'm telling her all about it because she hasn't seen it, she's like, that's just like a soap opera. And then I think of what I've said, and it is. It's very much the human condition. And
Right.
it's helped me, and we've talked about it on the show, it's helped me figure out things about myself, because basically the main character, Lucifer, is like, it's like a coming of age tale where he's like becoming human, in my opinion, but they haven't said it yet, and like learning how to interact with people or about emotion, or like, so it's pretty cool. But I will go on a little tirade right now. I watched the Morbius movie last night.
Uh-huh.
Is my answer, but usually when people say the movie is shitty, it's horrible, I don't agree, because I love shitty movies, right?
I
do.
heard this was a terrible movie. I
It
heard
is.
Morbius is bad.
And Joel, who's been on the show, can attest to this. Like, I always like the shittiest movies ever. It is terrible. Terrible. But the story behind it is not terrible.
Right.
Is that making, so you should watch it, knowing it from my mouth, who never doesn't like shitty movies. It is things where you're like, okay, so like he gave up on acting right there, and he was just like talking about it as if he's asking you if that's the right line. Like, it's just so bad. I just wonder if they did it on purpose. Like someone was trying to sabotage the movie.
That's weird, because I mean Jared Leto's a weirdo, but he's a really
Phoned it
great
in
actor.
so hard. He phoned it so hard. Like, his phone bill for that movie must have been very, very, very humongous, because it just looked like he was just reading the line to you. Like, but I never knew, like, I always liked that character as a kid and had the action figure and stuff. I didn't know it was more of a crippled person's story. I didn't know there was a superhero that like I could kind of identify with things when he's going through it. So I really enjoyed it, actually, even though
You
it
know
is
that.
horrible. Or do not turn it on and tell your friends. Kilo House told me to watch this movie. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be bad, but now that you know it's gonna be bad, you might enjoy it. So there you go.
There you go, right? Right
Really
on.
good. It's a good story at least. So you were gonna say something about our releases right now because
Oh, yeah. Well, we're about to sign off, but I just want to make sure that we gave a shout out to, so the next definitively scheduled, like on the calendar release is the House of Static remix of Queen of My Life by Liberty C, otherwise known as Katya Cruz. And we're super, super excited about that.
Oh yeah. I
and,
can't wait to do it.
Yeah. So that'll be September 30th. And then, but you'll see from September 30th sort of on, we'll be, doing a lot of things to kind of push that to different markets and everything. And it's just so good. I mean, it really,
It has a great vibe behind it. I
the
mean,
original song is great. The original song is fantastic. And that was really the whole point, was that like, I love that original song so much. And I love Katya is
It's
such
very empowering, honestly.
Yeah. So, and then we made it this crazy ass house down, and now it's just this. It's an anthem. I mean, it's
Right.
festival worthy stuff, man. It's great shit.
It's a great song, and just like even coming from a dude, like, and it's about being a queen of your life. It empowers me.
Yeah, it's
empowers
just like
Bob.
taking control. Yeah, being proud of your little. Yeah, it kind of goes to like some of the things we said about like, when you define like what matters and what's important and all that other stuff, the whole point of that song is I'm the queen of my life. She says, my favorite line of the song, she says, my kingdom may be small, but it's mine. And then that's, you know what I mean? It's just basically finding like the little, and she's the original version of the song. There's a video for it. And basically it's Katya singing in her small kingdom, in her little house. And it's just a great song lyrically and musically and everything. It's awesome. And we're really looking forward to it. And our remix is pretty great. So we're pretty
danceable. It's really good. And then Fluke is coming out eventually.
Yeah.
It's a three-piece. It's me, Bob King.
Yeah, so that's the other releases. We got Fluke, we got Low Tide Funk. These things are done and have to come out. And
Those two are done.
Those two are
Then
done.
there's other ones that aren't done, like Object 64.
Object 64 Appendix A is the full title of the new version,
That
and
song.
it's awesome. I love that song so
And
much.
then All Day and All Night.
Yeah, F all day and F all night.
Well, that's not going in the title, sir. But that's another one where I just kind of randomly did shit, and then I was like, Bob, do stuff, and he's gonna do stuff. And then it might even be an EP, or it might be a whole album of like different versions of the same song, because we found this weird acapella that's just fun vibes. Just fucking turn to the max. So yeah, new release is coming, you guys. Check out every link that we are going to leave below for you to look at our music, King's music, and Christian Cole's music. And then if this video has been out long enough, then you can go down to the bottom and check out the Katya Cruz song that will be out if you're watching this in the future.
September 30th.
Yes. Goodbye.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll